before I get back into game theory as a tool for critical thinking, I want to talk a little bit more about human beings as creators of gods, and the AI God, and whether or not it's going to be a perfect God. Well, we know what God's attributes are, right? God's all-powerful. He's everywhere all the time. God is all-knowing. God is sovereign. God is love. God is merciful. And God is not us. We are not gods. So it would be nice if God came down once in a while and gave a seminar, about what God is and what God's for and how we should behave and all that kind of stuff. But so far it really hasn't happened, except, of course, Moses and Muhammad, and I don't know if Krishna was God or human or whatever, but every once in a while God comes down and says something to a mystic or a shaman or somebody, a cult leader. Joseph Smith gives them some rules of the road, tells them to spread the message, and off we go. And people have religions, they have belief systems, they have culture. A lot of things emerge from our beliefs in gods. And of course we have mythology, and we have God-like people who meditate under trees for a long time and get all kinds of fantastic insights. Buddha. We have different ways of living that can inspire us to understanding the divine or spirit, whatever you want to call it. So, can things be divinely inspired? I don't know, probably. Are some poets divinely inspired? Were the writers of the Gospels divinely inspired? The Vedas, the Upanishads, so on and so forth. Yeah, maybe. I don't know what divine is, to be honest. If I say I'm a cultural Christian or something like that, it's because some of the ideas and feelings and perspectives morally and ethically and so on, even economically, that Jesus talks about in the Sermon on the Mount or Beatitudes are appealing to me. I think I can be a Nietzschean and still be like a cultural Christian on some level. You can add all of these different aspects together and come up with William T's outlook on things. I'm not much of a joiner of any club, so I'm not going to argue against this interpretation of whatever at this period in history and how it's totally wrong and I'm with the right school of philosophy or something. My opinions are better than yours. Anyway, so we have an idea of what God's attributes are, and then we look around at the world, we think in terms of design or other forms of theodicy. How did he do? And there's the problem of evil, the problem of suffering, disease, sickness, pain, all kinds of things. And we wonder, if you were a designer, if you're an engineer or something, or a designer, or a creator, or a creative type, could you imagine a better situation? So yeah, you can read Candide, understand the best of all possible worlds, and either agree with that or disagree with it. Leibniz, Spinoza, whatever your form is, was Thomas Aquinas divinely inspired, were the founding fathers of the United States, the Constitution writers, were they deists? What does that mean? Pagans, nature worshippers. Well, there's room in the world for all of that, obviously, because much has been written throughout history on all of these scores. Great creations, great movements, cultures. History is rife with it. So we understand that, and now we have soon we'll probably have quantum computers. So atoms will be doing the computing every which way but loose. And they'll be extremely powerful. So you can imagine what truckloads of data plus quantum computing can do with AI and machine learning and large language models and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be out there, you know, and it'll happen fast. It'll affect all of our lives, whether we notice it or not. It won't matter. You know, you can be on your conspiracy channel all day long talking about the Bilderberg Group and how the corporations run everything and all that kind of stuff. And it won't really matter because, you know, the momentum is all there. And then we have this built-in philosophy that we've got to deconstruct the earth and make products out of it. So we have to turn the earth into one big plastic thing and then watch it melt, you know. I think it's quite absurd. I think we can do better. But can we somehow husband or person in a humane fashion some kind of nanny AI that can make the world better for people around the world? And then, you know, what's God for? Is it to protect your tribe from the other tribes? Is God there to tell you that your tribe is the best tribe and the other tribes should be wiped out? Is your God there to make you rich and buy you a private jet? Is your God there to love you because you need love so desperately? At least God loves you. Is God there to give you faith and strength, to help you heal, to help you regress to the mean when you get sick? You know, look at the miraculousness of nature and then look at the miracles and who authored them. Which God? Well, obviously, we authored a lot of gods, like I said before, throughout history. And we're going to author another one right now. People in the world are working on things that will probably develop machines that are capable of maybe in the future, you know, writing their own code, teaching themselves how they want to be. Artificial general intelligence, probably pretty far off, but what do I know? I'm not an expert in that. But even the basic stuff that we have now is pretty amazing in terms of how it uses language and whatnot. So maybe someday a robot will be able to build another robot, or a robot will be able to fix another robot. So you have the robot tank out somewhere in the world killing the bad guys, and when it needs maintenance, it just goes to this underground bunker where a bunch of robots just fix it, put it back out there. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. That kind of scenario. At that point, human beings don't really matter, do they? And you can go as trad as you want and try to go back to a better, brighter world, conserve whatever hasn't been conserved because culture is always changing. And good luck with that. I think circumstances could bring us to a point like that in the future, as I've often said. Circumstances is a dictator that's very mean and powerful and really dictates. So, you know, we could get to that point. But in the meantime, are we going to create a good AI God that we can follow? And who's going to decide? You know, your Pakistani people, your Indian people, your Chinese people, your you know, name a country in Africa, Mozambique, or, you know, Fijians, or, you know, whatever. What culture is going to dictate? Is it going to be fast fashion and Disney? Is it going to be Netflix, Black Mirror? You know, what would a thing learn from all this data from us? It would probably learn that we create pretty fucked up gods in general, because we feel godlike and able to create gods. And our playing God fucks up the planet. I mean, it wrecks ecosystems, it drives species to extinction, it creates forever chemicals that are toxic, it creates climate change, and on and on and on, and horrific war and needless suffering and, you know, children starving every day. We create gods that don't seem to be very effective at maintaining the peace or the love thing. I mean, that's pretty much up to us and those of us who are doing the maintenance and the work to be loving, to be Christ-like or Buddha-like or whatever, to be a budding Buddha in the world, to, walk the way. Maybe there are more of us than we think. We could go to the pinker thing, the negative news that we pay attention to as opposed to positive things. Lots of logical fallacies in there, exclusion of middles and so on, gray areas. But I don't know if we're going to be able to create that beautiful nanny, benevolent God that's omnipresent, omniscient, that knows everything, that's always around, that cares about you and loves you and is merciful, sovereign and so on, and not us. Because that, a machine that takes over and starts to evolve itself is not us anymore. It can take itself out of the loop. I don't think we'll get there. Will we get to quantum computing? I think maybe, probably, pretty soon. And if we have fusion energy, what does that mean? It just means we can mine everything and make products and profits first, neoliberalism, all over the world faster. And at some point, the country club crowd wants the country club to itself, and to hell with the rest of us. Social unrest, inequality, on and on and on. So what say you? Can human beings do better than the Bible? Okay? The Ten Commandments, the Beatitudes, the Buddhist canon, the Upanishads, name it, Norse mythology, indigenous shamanism, whatever. Can we build technology that can usher us into a new age of peace and love and prosperity and health, or not? And if you're going to be Orthodox Christian, who's going to join you? Who's going to follow your flag? And who has to be eliminated? Where's the Jesus in it? Where's the mercy? Where's the love? That's a really huge and important question. So what say you? Can we invent a better God than we have in the past? Who wrote the Mormon, book? Was it God guiding Joseph Smith's hand, or something else? Were all the scribes that were copying the New Testament, the Gospels for century after century, were they all perfect, divinely guided, never made any mistakes? Because God was there, omnipresent, omniscient, knowing everything, made sure that all the edits and the changes over the years were perfect, and somehow neglected through the Middle Ages and the Age of Wonder and so on to tell us what E equals MC squared means. We had to kind of figure that out. Or is that from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and necessarily demonic? And if it's demonic, why can't God just sort out those damn demons? Free will? I don't know. That's a complicated question. Then it's on us. So what are we doing with God's wisdom? Do we get it? Do we ever get it? And do you think AI is going to get it? Thank you for listening. Bullion Tea, out.